Turtle Power. The Xxcha Kingdom are the PDS and political faction in Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. They are known for their rock-hard defense, PDS gridlock, and agenda phase hegemony. If you have a naturally defensive playstyle, or if the agenda phase is where you flourish, then keep on watching. Follow this guide and leave your opponents shell-shocked today. Analysis begins now. Faction abilities. First, peace accords. After you resolve the primary or secondary ability of the diplomacy strategy card, you may gain control of one planet other than Mecatol Rex that does not contain any units and is in a system that is adjacent to a planet you control. So you can take an empty planet without needing any ground forces. It is worth noting that this is a way to take planets from players that you've exchanged promissory notes with, such as support for the throne or ceasefire. Other than that, it's a helpful little ability. If you're going to be peaceful, then that means you'll be using diplomacy a lot, so you should get good value from this ability. Their next faction ability is Quash. When an agenda is revealed, you may spend one token from your strategy pool to discard that agenda and reveal one agenda from the top of the deck. Players vote on this agenda instead. This ability calls to mind the phrase, "It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it." Stopping voting on an agenda that negatively impacts you is pretty huge. One agenda can change a game and can be the difference between winning and losing. So if you have a massive fleet on Mecatol Rex, and the agenda Xxcha artifact gets pulled, one doesn't need to be very imaginative as to predicting how the other players who aren't on Mecatol Rex will vote. Boom, Quash. For the price of one strategy token, your entire fleet is saved. Don't just use it willy-nilly. Save it for the ones where it would really screw you over big time. And make sure to have at least one strategy token in your pool going into the agenda phase, just in case. Now on to their leaders. First we have their agent, Xxcha Rin. Action. Exhaust this card to ready any planet. If that planet is in a system that is adjacent to a planet you control, you may remove one infantry from that planet and return it to its reinforcements. So you can ready one of your planets, which is quite useful. Kind of a mini diplomacy ability. You can also sell it to another player who desperately needs a planet readied, since it can be any planet on the board. This also synergizes with your Peace Accords faction ability. You could ready up a planet adjacent to your own that only has one infantry, remove that infantry, then once diplomacy is used, you claim the planet. Then we have their commander, Elder Quanage. Unlocked by controlling planets that have a combined value of at least 12 influence. Each planet you exhaust to cast votes provides one additional vote. Game effects cannot prevent you from voting on an agenda. So whenever you exhaust a planet to cast votes, add +1 to your votes. So if you exhaust 7 planets, that's 7 extra votes, which can certainly turn the tide of voting in your favor and puts you in the captain's chair during the agenda phase. Finally, their new and not improved hero, Planetary Defense Nexus. Place any combination of up to 4 PDS or mechs onto planets you control. Ready each planet that you place a unit on. Then purge this card. Not nearly as overpowered as it used to be, not even close, but that isn't to say this hero is bad. The only flaw is that you'll likely already have most of your PDS and mech units on the board prior to using your hero. Being able to ready up 4 potential planets can help you score 2-point public objectives in the late game, but this hero is also beneficial in the early to mid game if you want to put 4 PDSs down, or a couple PDSs and a couple mechs, which have their Space Cannon 8 that shoots into adjacent systems. The greatest challenge with this hero is finding the correct time to use it. I would use it to max out my PDSs shortly after unlocking the hero in most situations, if I'm playing a 10-point game anyway. Because with Xxcha, you want to have PDS gridlock hell awaiting anyone who activates any systems in your slice, or even adjacent systems. Alternatively, you can use it aggressively as a winning stroke. Move in with your flagship and assorted other ships, take a critical system adjacent to a player's home system, or adjacent to Mecatol. Then, after you take it, pop your hero the next chance you get, and ready it up, or the planet's up, and place 4 PDS-2s down. Having 8 or 9 potential space cannon shots pointed at their home system or Mecatol is enough to cause consternation and fear in any player. You can even just threaten to use your hero, or use it to squeeze your opponent for a support for the throne or whatever is most valuable to you in the moment. Moving along, we have their mech Indomitus. It costs 2, hits on 6, and has Space Cannon 8. You may use this unit's Space Cannon ability against ships that are in adjacent systems. It, of course, also has sustained damage. Sure, they only hit on 8, but they're portable. You can move them wherever you need them. You can even carry them around with your flagship, which already gets 3 Space Cannon 5 shots, a deadly pairing to be sure. Space Cannon generally is an incredibly powerful ability. An opportunity to hit your opponent without risking being hit yourself, or really risking anything at all, aside from perhaps making them angry. So yes, this mech has high utility and fits perfectly with your defensive turtle playstyle. You will be married to the Space Cannon offense step. Speaking of Space Cannon, we have their flagship, Lankara Sodu, which has a cost of 8, hits on 7 times 2, has a move value of 1, and a capacity of 3. It has sustained damage and Space Cannon 5 times 3. You may use this unit's Space Cannon against ships that are in adjacent systems. Needless to say, this is one of the best flagships in the game. To give you an idea how formidable this flagship is, I'll explain its capabilities. You get your flagship with 3 mechs on board. You'll want to research plasma scoring, so we'll call it Space Cannon 4 times 5. So you get 7 Space Cannon rolls that can be fired into adjacent systems, just shelling your enemy, no pun intended, and scoring lots of hits. And that isn't even accounting for if you have a few PDS-2s in that system, which can take the number of the Space Cannon rolls up to 10 or more easily. ABR, always be rolling. Your Space Cannon offensives can deal enormous amounts of damage. Faction text. Nullification field. A yellow with 2 prerequisites that reads, after another player activates a system that contains 1 or more of your ships, you may exhaust this card and spend 1 token from your strategy pool. Immediately end that player's turn. This is one of many tools on the Xxcha's utility belt that frustrates attackers and makes it not worth it for your opponents to attack you. Keep that strategy pool stocked, and you'll be able to neutralize attacks. They are known as the Peaceful Turtle faction for a reason. Next is Instinct Training, a green with 1 prereq. You may exhaust this card and spend 1 token from your strategy pool. When another player plays an action card, cancel that action card. This is similar to their Quash faction ability, in the sense that it can save your game under the right circumstances. Say if you are about to take Imperial, hoping to immediately win on your turn, and then another player plays a Public Disgrace action card, forcing you to take another strategy card instead. Instinct Training can save you from this and similar gut-wrenching, unpleasant surprises. This is the peace of mind faction tech. Knowing that you won't be subjected to the Charlie Brown football routine when you're trying to win will increase your confidence and make your moves on the board less perturbed by randomness. For a 1 green prereq, I like this technology quite a bit. Faction promissory note. Political favor. When an agenda is revealed, remove 1 token from the Xxcha player's strategy pool and return it to their reinforcements. Then discard the revealed agenda and reveal 1 agenda from the top of the deck. Players vote on this agenda instead. Then return this card to the Xxcha player. Giving this out allows another player to basically use your Quash ability. One must be cautious giving this promissory note out, because another player could simply save it for when you only have 1 strategy token and then use it. Or they could get rid of an agenda that benefits you tremendously that you are going to need to win. Sell it for a high price and sell it to a player that you have determined has interests resembling yours. Knowing what the agendas are ahead of time with the politics strategy card can simplify this process for you. Let's take a glance at their breakthrough. Archon's Gift. You can spend influence as if it were resources. You can spend resources as if it were influence. It has a yellow and green synergy. Sound familiar? It's more or less the nerfed version of their old hero, but this one is more balanced and fair. So if you have Mecatol with its 6 influence, you can spend it as 6 resources instead, and vice versa. This gives you so much flexibility and opens up so many opportunities for scoring victory points. It is worth noting that you cannot use this breakthrough during the agenda phase, since you don't spend influence to vote, you exhaust planets. But this is still a solid breakthrough since it can help you score resource and influence related objectives much easier. Moving on. Expeditions, Thunder's Edge, and the Fracture. Most of the benefits from your breakthrough are seen in the middle and late game. The one main benefit, however, that you see in the early game is its synergy, which allows you to pull off an optimal tech path. And let's not pretend that getting Thunder's Edge in your slice isn't beneficial to you. It is, especially since you can defend the planet with your PDS and Space Cannon gridlock. Xxcha are good at defending important planets, mostly by making your opponents not even attempt to take the planet in the first place. Venturing into the Fracture may seem like it's antithetical to your defensive playstyle. It seems that way because it is. If your opponents notice your deficient defense in your slice, they will jump on the opportunity to strike because they may never get another one. So don't let adventurism take priority over defense, diplomacy, and politics, which are your actual strengths. So get those expeditions off and try to get the last one so you can put Thunder's Edge in your slice. That's a smart move for Xxcha, getting Thunder's Edge under your PDS umbrella of defense. Xxcha's start. They start with 2 home planets, Archon Ren, a 2-3, and Archon Tau, a 1-1. Their starting fleet consists of 1 carrier, 2 cruisers, 3 fighters, 4 infantry, 1 space dock, and 1 PDS. They get a huge 4 commodities and start with 1 yellow tech, Graviton Laser System. Their starting tech, commodity count, and influence are good, but their starting fleet leaves much to be desired. In terms of expansion, you're in for a slow turtle start. You can help remedy this with your Peace Accords ability, scooping up an extra planet without needing any units. You should be able to tell if other players are able to get Mecatol on turn 1 by looking at what strategy cards they take and what faction they are. This is important because then you know whether or not there will be an agenda phase turn 1, so you can plan accordingly. So yeah, their start is slow, they are turtles after all, but hey, remember who the victor was between the tortoise and the hare. Let's analyze the Xxcha Kingdom's first turn, general strategy, and objectives. Strategy cards, which should they take? There's Construction, which gets your precious PDS units on the board, or a PDS and a space dock. PDSs are highly potent and strategic units. You can use them for a myriad of purposes, but a straightforward way to arrange your PDSs is to put them in the first or second systems between your home system and Mecatol Rex. That way they can space cannon as many as 6 adjacent systems once you research PDS-2, or in Xxcha's case, PDS-2, their mechs, and their flagship. That is a good idea defensively. Say there's 2 planets in the system. If you put down 4 PDS units, you're going to have serious firepower in all directions. Cover your home system and deter invasion in several other systems in your slice. Where you place your PDSs depends on how much you spread out and how much of a turtle you want to be. You don't actually have to play peacefully or defensively. If you choose to be aggressive, you can with your mechs, your flagship, and nullification field faction tech, which is good offensively as well as defensively, if you know how to use them properly. But this isn't something I recommend for beginners, more like something you can try as an experiment or to throw off other players' preparation and plans. Your other options for strategy cards are trade and diplomacy. Your breakthrough, specifically the synergy part, is important for your game. Trade and diplomacy make it almost entirely certain you'll be able to get it turn 1. Additionally, a lot depends on how many people are in the game. Xxcha in general are significantly impacted by the number of players in the game, more so than other factions. Politics is a solid grab when you find the opportune time. Not on round 1, but once you hit the ground running with your influence and commander. Being able to check the top 2 agendas, see what they are, and ditch them if they would harm you or are insignificant is huge. You don't want the insignificant agendas. You want the game-changing ones that you get huge value from. Expand to the best of your abilities. Since you start off light on resources, they ought to be prioritized round 1. Yes, later you will want lots of influence to help with your commander and to make you a decision maker during the agenda phase. Other players will have to cut deals and vote together if they want to outvote you. But remember, you can always use your quash ability in case of non-advantageous agendas being drawn. And your instinct training faction technology will let you stop yourself from being foiled by agenda phase action cards. The following are easily scored objectives: sway the council, build defenses, improve infrastructure, engineer a marvel, construct massive cities, protect the border, achieve supremacy, and I'll throw in a few secret objectives: turn their fleets to dust, unveil flagship, establish a perimeter, and every agenda phase secret. Mecatol Rex, to take it or not to take it? That is the question. Mecatol Rex is the most valuable planet in the sense that it is the only planet that repeatedly gives you victory points. Everyone wants to take Mecatol and everyone wants to hold it. Your great defensive capabilities put you in an excellent position to defend the planet. Controlling Mecatol further cements your dominance in the agenda phase, and being able to burn a secret objective and draw a new one can increase the likelihood of you getting secrets that you can score easily. That all being said, your slow-moving starting fleet and the fact that you have higher priorities in the early game makes claiming the planet difficult to justify. Sure, if you get all your plastic on the planet, it'll be difficult for anyone to stroll in and take it from you. But when you focus on Mecatol, you're spreading too thin and neglecting what's really important for Xxcha, which is creating impenetrable borders. Your PDS-2s, mechs, and flagship can always be adjacent to Mecatol and space cannon your opponents' units on the planet, which will deal serious damage and put you in a strong negotiating position. Make them pay up if they don't want to get peppered with space cannon shots. In short, take Mecatol Rex if a golden opportunity arises. Otherwise, don't consider it a top priority. What is the correct turtle tech path? Well, allow me to explain. First of all, you can get all the techs you want with Xxcha as long as you have your breakthrough, so get it quickly. It lets you use greens as yellows and yellows as greens. So this list is assuming that you have your breakthrough, which shouldn't be difficult for you to get. The tech path I recommend for the Xxcha Kingdom is as follows: instinct training, hypermetabolism, plasma scoring, PDS-2, and nullification field. Instinct training to neutralize pesky action cards like overrule, disable, public disgrace, various agenda phase action cards, and so on. Hypermetabolism because your quash ability and instinct training both require command tokens. Plasma scoring because you're going to be rolling for space cannon frequently. PDS-2 so you can use deep space cannon to shoot adjacent systems, and nullification field to foil enemy attacks and protect your units that may be outside your space cannon umbrella of protection. Graviton laser system and plasma scoring go together like milk and chocolate chip cookies. Just make sure you get that breakthrough ASAP. Its ability, specifically the part where you can spend influence for resources, will make it easier for you to research techs anyway. In conclusion, the Xxcha Kingdom have board presence, to coin a term, which your enemies will be reminded of every time you roll for space cannon. What I like about this faction is that you always feel like you're in control. You don't have to bend or move for anyone, both on the board and during the agenda phase. So give these resilient reptiles a try during your next TI4 game, and you won't be disappointed. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.